And there's some real cowards out there. There's some real people that are so afraid of what other people will think about them. And I'm talking about a lot of Christians, man. There's a lot of you Christians out there that just message me to death, man, privately, but you know, you don't really show your support. I see you come in and you go because you're always not so sure. And I mean, the only thing that you ever need to be sure about that connects you and I is that our belief in Jesus Christ. And I think that I've shown you that that's absolutely firm. I've been adamant about that. The only thing that separates us is our interpretation of the Bible. And that's one of the biggest problems of the Bible, is that it separates people. And if you can't admit that, you're actually not admitting it to yourself, because you're allowing it to separate us as brothers and sisters. Some of you are, and I'm talking about the Christians who I would simply call mainstream, and who you guys deny that you're not mainstream, but you don't see it. You're fit into a mold. You're a cookie cutter Christian that has been put into a mold, and you're afraid to break out. You're afraid to bust this bubble of the Bible that you yourself are floating in, and if you think that you do, that you're going to come crashing down. Well, I'm sorry. The Bible is not God. It's not the thing that holds you up. It's the Spirit of truth that holds you up. It's the Spirit of truth that moves throughout every firm believer in Jesus Christ. The Bible has been usurped. False Israel associated with the fallen sons of God, Genesis 6, have really rearranged this world. And you're a coward if you're not going to be able to show your support for this truth, which supports the full 100% validity of the absolute magnificence of the perfection of our Father. Our Father, if he was not perfect, guess what? Creation wouldn't exist. He would have already destroyed it eons ago. Eons ago, if he was not perfect. If he had any ounce of anger, vengeance, and wrath, don't you realize that he would have already exercised that in the infinite eternities of the past? You think just now, in infinity just started now? Wrong. Infinity is something that has never begun or never ended. It is. So if the Father had any ounce of imperfection in him whatsoever, that somewhere in the infinity of the distant past, he would have exercised it. And guess what? None of this would ever be. None of it. The Father is perfect. That's the only thing that allows this to happen. That was the only thing that allowed Jesus Christ to willfully acknowledge the will of his children, of his creation. And when the majority of those children around him that were in control of the material affairs of this world, and unfortunately some of the spiritual direction that they were leading the common people into, and that they put him on that cross, he didn't usurp their free will. He did not take away the free will that he gave those very children to use and exercise. And they just unfortunately were blinded by the goddess world to use their free will to destroy the one thing that came to save them. And now so many people want to say that Jesus is Satan, or all of this crazy baloney malarkey that Jesus never existed. You don't understand what in the world you're talking about. Don't you understand that Jesus' message was that we are all brothers? That he came and he talked down against the religious establishment of the world? And then you think that Jesus Christ has something to do with religion? Don't you remember him turning over the money changer tables? That he was rebuking the way of this material system? Don't you see the way that he was talking to the Sadducees and the Pharisees, which was the religious authority of the day? He condemned them. He condemned them for their use of the letter. How is it that you Christians don't see that? How is it that you are so blind by this ancient Jewish doctrine, which has been foisted upon the world by these fallen sons of God of Genesis 6, that are all wrapped up in all of this tradition, this letter, and this law? How is it that you Christians say that you have eyes to see, cannot see that? How is it? Well, I think it's because you're cowards. And it's sad, because if you have that cowardice of spirit, where you can't step out into the true light of the Spirit of truth and admit it, that you got some rough days ahead, I pray for you.